So now, not only must we know thyself, we must accept thyself, then we can love thyself.
I'm going to love myself the way it feels good to me.
What if your feelings are betraying you?
Now, what if something that you enjoy is actually considered probably malicious to someone else or not necessarily acceptable to societal standard?
So it's safe to say that you can never really love yourself without knowing your identity and your roots.
Welcome back, guys. Hello, everybody. Once again, welcome back to Mind Your Wellness podcast. The
MYW family.
MYW beeps. Welcome back again, and we have another good episode coming for y'all. I'm just excited. I'm just excited to be here with you guys. Once again, thank you for supporting. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this with everybody you know. We appreciate your support. Because of you, we're going to be able to continue doing this because we know you appreciate it, right?
Yes,
and
right.
I mean, we're going to still push content regardless, but it means a lot to us when we see that you value the kind of content that we're bringing to you. So thank you in advance. Make sure that you get our merch because I mean we're gonna have a couple of merch. I love that everybody's have the t-shirts representing. So make sure you go to our website. You'll be able to find what we're wearing today. Without further ado, let's get started, guys. How y'all doing? We have Obel in the house, Patricia, Dr. Billy's there, and again we have our special guest, Auntie Bedlin back.
I'm back.
Yes,
I think she's enjoying it.
She is.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
We love her, so we're glad to have her back.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? And my little icebreaker for y'all today is, what do you guys do for self-care? I will start with you, Tati Bedlin, since you're our guest of honor.
I love to travel.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. That I know.
What's some interesting places you've been? Like the most, like a place that you've been that you love?
I'm not telling my business. I'm gonna mind my business.
Come on, give us recommendations because people want to travel.
To be honest
the
with you,
country.
yeah, I think Caribbean is really
Caribbean,
just because of the blue water
Okay.
and the food.
Okay,
Yeah.
which one part of the Caribbean countries you like?
Believe it or not, Haiti.
Yeah,
Wow.
she does go to Haiti.
You go to Haiti
regardless of
every
what's
year,
going on.
except
Sometimes
recently.
twice or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you go to like Aruba, one of those places, and then you go to Haiti. That's the same year. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's nice. That's
I
good.
like Caribbean because of the water and the food.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you, depending on your mood, when I used to travel, I mean, I'm still traveling. I just go because I don't know that place. And usually I do it on my birthday and I pick up a random places to go. But yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the other one, I was just big city with big building and things like that.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not.
Nothing special.
Nothing special.
Okay. What about you, Patricia?
Well, I have a toolbox. I journal a lot. I write every day. I pray, read my Bible. These are things that fortify me, empower me. I talk to people that I appreciate, people who can take us to that deep conversation. I do podcasts for self-care.
Come on now.
No, something that you alone benefit from. Because, I mean, you can benefit from this too. And you alone.
Because we lack in the deep conversation.
That's true. That's true. Okay, that's good. It's good to hear.
I know. I guess by now you guys know I'm complicated, right?
Oh, tell me about
Funny
it.
thing is, that's not funny.
So you know.
No, I'm very intentional about my life.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that I don't enjoy, I don't do it.
That's right.
I will, even folks who pay me to speak, I tell them I don't have 45 minutes to talk to you if I'm not enjoying this session.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a different philosophy for me. I guess the American philosophy is that I have to take some time away from work for myself so I can self-care. But it's almost like, do I have to exit my self-care mode so I can come to your chaos and I have no time for it? So I talk to you is because I enjoy it. As you can see, as I've been here, having a great time. Once I go outside, play basketball with the guys, have a great time. If I don't enjoy it, you're not going to see me again. The folks that I speak to, it's very intentional for me. So I do not disturb my peace to enter your craziness.
My goodness.
So that's
a lie.
basically the way I approach life. I laugh, make fun of myself. It's
Wow, from
We
what
should
I'm
put
hearing,
that on a t-shirt.
I know, right? From
Do
what
not
I'm
disturb
hearing,
your peace.
from what I'm hearing, like it's beautiful because
Lifestyle.
now I'm seeing like your whole lifestyle is what you're,
Self-
it's
That's
the
what it is.
self-care, right?
That's-
What do you do
It's
for fun?
continuous. Self-care is continuous
but
for
the
you.
thing is, fun is what you
You
enjoy.
having fun.
As you can see
Yeah.
here,
You having
by the
fun.
way, I met you tonight.
Yeah.
I had a great time,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a great time waiting for me at home as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so your whole
So
life.
you're enjoying every moment.
If I don't, I wouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. I think what we need to do, instead of taking time out away
I
from
agree. Mm-hmm.
chaotic moments, so we could have self-care and go, recharge and then come back the next day, go crazy. And then we stay in that place for
Make it a
9 months.
lifestyle.
or
Oh no, my
whatever.
house is always a good time.
Right. I mean, right. So that's what it is.
yeah.
You're intentional about the people that you put
Yeah.
around you. I don't have to
Yeah.
have you.
I love that.
And family is always a good thing. So.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
starting to implement that because I actually was on a podcast and
I
they
do too.
interviewed me and they asked me that question and we kind of dive into making self-care every day thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to necessarily be just
A
that.
thing.
I'm taking
Yeah,
the time
too.
away
Taking
to
a
do
time
self-care.
away.
Right.
So it's like for me, I mean, that's part of, for me, it takes journaling. I want to do that every day, right? To kind of like, this makes me happy, right?
But if you do it every
Talking
day,
to
it's going
everybody.
to be work.
But you
It's
have to
not
diversify.
work. You love it.
You have to diversify
love
your
it.
emotional portfolio. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
I hear people always talk about the thing I cannot stand. Thank God it's Friday. Okay.
Yeah,
what happened on Monday?
Yeah, exactly.
So you telling me I need to be
agree.
miserable on Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah,
Wednesday,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Thursday,
Those are
Friday,
people
and
that
celebrate?
work jobs that they don't like, though.
Then
Yeah,
you need to
that's
challenge
true. I
yourself
think
to find something that you want to do with
That's
your life.
true.
Yeah, but sometimes we
Yeah.
don't have the choice.
Well,
And then you have to.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that,
Especially
and
for the US, you have a lot of people that are immigrant. And so when they come here, they have to
Yeah.
start somewhere. And so a
Exactly.
lot of times they take jobs that they don't
they
like.
don't like.
So for them, when it's Friday, it's really, thank God it's Friday.
It's
I don't have to
Friday.
do that
It's
thing
Saturday,
that
I
I
don't have
don't
to go
like.
back.
Exactly.
happiness is created. If I realize something is going to be with me for a long period of time and I cannot get rid of that something, I may as well learn to accept it
Accept her.
and then fall in love with it.
Huh.
While I'm at it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
But what if that is just not you?
Well,
Right?
we
'Cause
have,
let's
a,
say part
we have a
of-
choice.
Well, that's okay.
That's
Just
gonna
do it
carry us-
something else. Yeah,
That's
Just
carrying
find
us to
something
the
else.
conversation that we're
You
going to
can't
have.
complain for what it's saying is really you cannot complain for years and years and years and
Oh, I
years.
Exactly.
see
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
mean. It's a choice.
Yeah. Make it a lifestyle. Yeah. I agree with that part of what you said because I feel like to me, I'm moving away from anything superficial. I know I was having that conversation with you. I'm like, if it's just like simple thing that you just want to share, I don't want to hear it. I just feel like I have like a low patience for anything that's superficial. If the conversation is not deep, I'm not learning anything. I feel like you're wasting my time. It's like the minute that you start talking and I'm not learning and it's nothing important, I just get bored
You lose your
instantly.
mind.
Yeah.
But is that a stage or are you always going to be like that? I think for some people, this is like at this stage of my life, I really don't want to do that because I don't think you're going to have any problem since having a conversation with Hobel that really has no
But I love
substance.
Obel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's not that we're not having the conversation, but I'm not having this conversation with you.
Random people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you were intentional about your circle too. And
Yeah.
anybody who just make,
Because once in a while, I'd
if
like to talk
if
about
I'm double
nothing.
side, double. If I get like a little bit of passiveness and then nobody knows where you stand, it's just like, okay, keep it to yourself, keep it in your corner.
Other people.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's now to carry on the conversation about self-love because this is the topic that we want to, probably bring out today. What is self-love to you? Do you think the definition of self-love really mean when somebody really loves themselves?
Well, you're looking at me again.
Yeah.
And like said earlier, my definition of the self is different. So I'm assuming you're talking about the individual self, the physical body that I am here, plus my ego and the superego all
European
within
one.
me. Yeah. The European version. For me, it's really to put the self in a place that is pleasant, that is fitting to my, to be in an atmosphere where it is consistently pleasant to me. Now, if there is something that is unpleasant, that I have to ask myself, is it necessary?
Okay.
Do I need it? I may take a medicine that's unpleasant.
Okay,
I take it because it's necessary. But I have a responsibility to continuously ask myself, what would you like right now? Go get a haircut, look good, spend some money on myself, get this jacket. If that's that for me, go play ball with my guys. Do the things that myself had told me over the past some whatever years that I enjoy this. I feel good when you do this. That's what it means to me.
Okay, can I challenge that for a second? Now, what if something that you enjoy is actually considered probably malicious to someone else or not necessarily acceptable to societal standard?
But he's gonna enjoy it.
It's not.
No. But
It's not. It's not.
No, because you're saying you're doing things. So, because some people
It's like a case of criminal mind.
right?
Well, remember we
Because
started
some
that
people might
conversation.
be
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
But number one, self-care is not a one-size-fits-all jacket.
That is true.
So what I do to
Self-love.
care for myself or self-love, thank you, is different from you. It's up to you. Remember I told you, keep society and all those people out of your life. Whatever you do for you, as long as it's not detrimental to you,
Then shouldn't bother you.
then that's you. So I do those things. Now, we're still not to operate within the restrictions of the society that we live because we're not free. Nobody is 100% free. We have this. But if I'm, like I always tell people, I don't use marijuana. Why? Not because of the police officer, because I just don't want it.
I don't want it
not
in my
gratifying
body.
to me. You see what I'm saying? So myself does not ask me that as
Something for
a
pleasure.
supplement for me or as something that I would like to try. It's just that.
Right.
So that's what self-love is to feed the self what the self is asking you.
That's
Is it the definition, really?
well, I mean, that's for him.
You said,
That's
what does it mean to me?
For him.
Okay, for you, okay.
Remember you asked that,
for
there was
you?
that philosopher, you asked what's two and two. He said, depends where you put them, the
Depends-
position.
that is true. Depends on who is
for me, that's what it
asking.
means.
Yeah.
And well, technically, self-love is regard of one's own well-being
Well, call it.
and happiness.
See, that's what the English speaker said.
Happiness is subjective.
Yeah, so.
But I mean, self-love is also knowing who you are.
Okay.
I mean, for me, if I'm gonna say that, so we don't generalize it, I feel like it's knowing my identity and all of my triggers and my barriers and my limitation and the one that I can push. I feel like I used to think that I loved myself for a long time because, we from a family, they built our confidence. That's one thing I would say about my family. There is no way that you're going to come out of my family and I have some level of confidence. Which in a way can play against you somehow because we get a little bit self-centered. But
Self-love.
Call it what you want.
The thing is, I thought for a long time, I thought that was self-love. Like, I love myself. I love what I do. I enjoy what I'm doing. But then I started realizing, can I love the flaws? Can I love the part of myself that are ugly? Can I love the part that I'm finding out from my environment that are not necessarily pretty, And can I sit with those things? And it takes a lot of therapy, actually, to actually get those all of the broken parts and then the beautiful parts and then keep it together and say, you know what, this is
As
me.
a whole, I love me.
Yeah, and I love me the way I am. I know sometimes I may come off, but I love me, And there's nothing that's going to happen where I'm going to be like, oh my God, you're so stupid, Patricia. It's just that is self-love for me now. And I think that's my definition of it. Do you love your broken part, Tati?
Oh, I have some. Or maybe
I mean, we
too
all
many.
do.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I look at myself in the mirror, I love myself.
The thing is, I don't
Well,
think
you go deep with your definition of everything,
In
like
love.
because you really get to think about your flaws and things like that. No, I think I just love me.
So you don't get to
wanna
think
go
about.
deep.
You don't want to
You
think
don't wanna
about
go deep.
The bad and the good,
Yeah.
just love me.
Yeah.
I mean, they make you who you are, the
Yeah,
bad and the,
yeah.
and the good.
Yeah. You're not intrigued by your mind. Like you don't go deep into your psyche
Not
trying
when
to.
it's come to me. Why would I analyze myself that much?
I think you should.
You should.
I love it.
Because
I mean,
that's what I was going to get
sometimes.
into.
Yeah,
I
sometimes,
think-
but not all the time.
Because the thing is, I don't ever want to walk into a room and let the room define me. I want to walk into a room with my own definition of
Exactly.
myself.
Well,
You know?
Well, you know yourself first, but you have to love yourself unconditionally.
But if you don't,
But you
how
have
do you
to
love
know the
yourself if
broken
you don't know
parts.
the broken part and self-analyze what is the flaws
if you've
that you
been
have?
around people for a long time, they'll tell you that you're
Tell you the
the
Yes,
thing
but
is,
do you believe because
People will tell
but
you.
people can tell you that's true, but it depends on
Sometimes they
who's
lie.
telling you. Because if who's telling you is not really somebody that is close to you enough to actually understand that part of you,
Mhm.
and if you don't know yourself, how can you actually believe them
Whether it's
or
true
not
or
believe
not.
them, whether it's true or
Well,
not?
if you
Yeah.
have a mind and some, I mean, if you know, like, let's just say that you're somebody that really doesn't like people, like
Mm.
you don't want to be around people, and someone says, you should go out a little bit more.
Mhm.
You know that.
Well,
I think it's something
but
that you know
I
about
can
yourself.
accept-
Yeah.
Mm.
I can accept. Funny thing is, I define the self. I know we talk about the European self, but I define the self as a three-dimensional aspect,
Mm.
and I find enjoyment and love all those aspects for me to be fulfilled.
Mhm.
I talk about in my writing. I talk about the self, the big self, and the bigger self.
Mm.
The self is the me, the immediate person here.
Right.
The big self is the relationship that I have with you as a sister, the relationship that I have with the trees, the relationship I have with my community, the relationship that I have with everything else.
Mhm.
The bigger self is the relationship with the divine. So for me to be fulfilled, when you do well, that is pleasant to me because you're an extension of myself.
Mm.
When I see the street in my village clean, I take pride in that
Mhm.
because that's an extension of me. When the trees are standing, that's an extension of me.
Mm.
Is
So-
your bigger self your better selves as well?
The bigger self is the connection between the divine and that individual, this individual.
Mm.
So God, that is why we call it the bigger self.
Right.
So now it becomes a place. I'm not going to hate you because you just made $1 million. I see it as an extension of the self.
Mm.
I am not going to destroy the Mercedes that you just purchased because I see that as my Mercedes as well because it's part of the self. And I find that type
That's
of
your
enjoyment.
bigger self, not your better self.
I have the self, the big self, and the bigger self.
Okay.
The
Self, big selves, and the better self.
and the bigger.
I don't know why I keep saying your better self.
Well, maybe
Is it
because
the
it's
better
better.
self? It's
Because,
better.
it's
Because
the
it is better,
It
right?
is better because it's the relationship. As a matter of fact, the word un, Creole say moon, the word un is spiritism, okay? Which is the idea is that where Creole say timun and grand moon.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
idea
yeah.
as you continue to grow, you get
Yeah.
closer to the
To being
spiritual
a
self,
bigger
which is the
being.
bigger self.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
yeah.
like for one moun an gen wage 50 ans, ou do a ti moun tou moun pap jam gran moun.
Yeah.
Meaning that you do not evolve toward the bigger self.
Towards a bigger self. Yeah.
And the African thinking, the same philosophy with the voodooists as well, is that you have multiple lives, and only when you get to the 8th life that you can occupy some of the prestigious position in society because you acquire that type of
Before you
wisdom
acquire that
that you
type
can
of
care for
wisdom.
the community. You see the success of somebody else as your success.
Wow, so we have a lot of people that
so-
are that really don't love themselves.
so the
That's
love
why they
will-
project the insecurities and jealousy towards other people because they really don't love themselves.
Yes, in that case, I would never kidnap you
We can go
But you
back
would
to the
kidnap
Haitian
yourself.
culture because
you're part of
you would
me.
keep
You're
this
part
fire.
of me.
I would never destroy the tree.
Yeah.
That's the same philosophy. The tree is part of me. If I'm sick, I can get a branch of that tree or live of that tree because remember this whole idea of God, I'm a smaller God.
Yeah.
Then that tree, that spiritual phenomenon can heal the physical aspect of this self.
Yeah.
So you really have the collectivism of Haitian.
That's the second time
I know.
he's talking about that.
And you know something? I feel like I want to dive into the fact, into like the hatred that you have for the same thing that you love. You know, it's when we're talking about, I feel like every conversation that we have, we go back to our root as Haitian, as
I'm
Caribbean
very
culture.
centered, as you can see. I remember my common denominator remains
I
the same.
see that. Yeah.
It's very,
Your root.
very
Your
much
root,
the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I obviously
When
study.
it comes to the country,
Say that
that's a
again?
You don't
different
think
thing.
the
Well,
country,
but
the
how
land
would
has
you
anything
feel?
to do?
How would you feel if you're part of me and you continue to mistreat you, and then
Yeah.
that by that I am mistreated as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? I'm doing my part to stay clean, but you keep on
You
dirtying
keep
yourself.
dirtying, yeah.
So that's where all that passion
So
comes
you're
from when
dealing
it comes to
with
the
the pain.
Haitian house Negroes.
He's dealing with the
So
pain.
love by association, that makes me think. That makes me think about a lot of things, especially in our community, living with not just in the community, like living with your family and how it's supposed to be. So you're describing the healthy type of love.
Yeah, he's going so deep with it.
Well,
Yeah.
I only have
That's
one.
the
I have
ideal
one
type
seed.
of
I love
love.
it. Love
you
the
know?
community. I love myself.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
one
Just love yourself for tonight.
Well, I don't know. I never take time out from it. I wouldn't trade me for anybody else. I don't take time out from it. But you have to understand when we begin to operate from a different paradigm, you see the destruction that it leads to.
Yeah,
That's
that is
true.
true.
That's true.
That is true.
So it's safe to say that you can never really love yourself without knowing your identity and your root. Is what
You
I'm
have-
getting
that
from
is
that.
true.
Yeah.
You have to know it.
That is true.
But if
Like
you're gonna
if you
go,
don't know,
if you're gonna go to understand the extension, you have to understand that part first, like you were saying, the
Uh-huh,
European
uh-huh,
self.
mhm.
So, what is the me? How do I react with pain? How do I react with money?
knowing the
How do I
triggers and
react when somebody reject me?
Yeah.
How do I with deception? How do I do it
Mhm.
when I'm hungry? How do I? That's the me.
What if people cannot necessarily do it by themselves? Like some people just hit sitting, like, you just enjoy being in your mind,
Yeah.
right? Whereas some people, they don't want to be in their mind all the time. Like I said, like, I'm not going to be sitting here thinking about what I
I'm in
do.
my mind all the time teaching. I want to be home and not be in my mind.
But how do you get that?
Working
How
on
do you,
mine so much.
yeah, how will you be able to get to a place where you actually understand how you react to these things?
Everybody, you're making it sound like everybody has to be part of the 1%. There's plenty of room to
So
live
we
a good
don't-
life.
We're not encouraging.
One
Hold on,
person.
so we're not encouraging everybody
My
to
goodness.
acquire to get to a level
let's-
to
There's
get self love.
There's plenty of wealth below the 1%. That doesn't mean that. I mean,
You have to be in the 1%.
that doesn't mean there's. Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is his way of loving himself.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have to, and we were talking about degrading.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to begin grading yourself in individual parts.
Okay.
Gestalt therapy, you remember.
Mhm.
You have to start looking at a comprehensive grade.
Experience, yeah.
This guy, you pretty darn good.
Mm.
That does not mean that you don't have areas that you're not good at.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
overall, those
You're
pass or
pretty
fail classes
decent.
when we had in college,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
passed.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty darn good.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I don't have shortcomings
Okay.
because I grade it on a comprehensive scale instead of looking at it by section.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So since we have a panel of 1%,
You trouble.
Guys.
You're in trouble.
Guys, excuse her.
No, we are.
Please excuse her. We want all of you guys to be part of that 1%.
well, that's where I was gonna go next. I'm like, and I'm
Everybody's
not
not gonna love
ordering it.
themselves the same way.
Well, that's true. That's true. And I'm
That's
not
what I mean by
ordering
that.
it. So
But what
this
would
is
we
not to
consider
order-
healthy love then in that case?
Yeah, without, we're not ordering anybody, but let's describe health.
What do you mean by healthy
love.
self-love? Or
Yeah,
Healthy
healthy
self-love.
self-love. Healthy self-love.
It
Yeah.
varies from one person to another.
Yeah,
I would probably say a love that have a balance to it,
Yes, I agree. I agree to that.
or to be healthy, like
Mm.
not just community Like if you always think that the love is to community, then when do you really love yourself?
Love yourself. Yeah.
If it's always through somebody else that you see it, I think you need to create a balance.
It is, yeah. Well, you know what I think?
And you can't just look at yourself all the time and like really in love with
You
yourself.
love
Right.
myself. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, so-
Well, then you start becoming like you Lucifer,
Or conceited,
you
or
know.
narcissist.
But I think so.
Use that
No,
word. So, I'm just
no.
kidding.
No,
We use
so-
that word
I'm
way
gonna go
too
there.
loosely nowadays.
I
Go ahead.
feel like on social media now everybody's talking about narcissism. It's ridiculous, you know. But
They
I
just
think
learned
we
the
should
new
talk.
word. It's a new word.
It's catchy. Yeah.
Do you want to define narcissism?
Oh,
Do we have
Wait,
to go
let's
there?
talk about love.
Let's talk about love. Let's talk about love.
I know,
I
but I
want
feel
to about
like
the different level.
Okay, go
The
ahead.
different level. I think that somebody should consider whether you have healthy love. I don't think somebody can say you love yourself in a healthy way and you're destroying your body with like bad food.
Exactly.
I don't think you can say that you love yourself and
Okay.
if you're just sitting down and you're not following your purpose, you're
Exactly.
not finding meaning as a human being.
But if you don't know your purpose,
the thing
find
is,
it.
I'm glad you
We
got.
all
I'm
have
glad
to
you
go
brought this
into a discovery and a search, right?
because I
I
don't
think
think you
that-
can
find a
love yourself
purpose.
if you don't find who you are. at your-
100%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Remember the Greeks stole it from the Africans. They say they said it, but I know everybody. Know thyself.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Greeks, obviously. The Africans told you know thyself.
Know thyself.
I cannot love something that I don't know.
Mm.
So now, not only must we know thyself, we must accept thyself, then we can love thyself.
Then we can love thyself.
And we have so many Negroes who trying to know thyself, and then what happened when they kind of have a glimpse of who they are, they reject thyself, then you have an identity crisis. So I take a step further. I say know thyself, accept thyself, and love thyself.
And love it again. Because that's how you can start changing the parts you don't like.
like when you know your roots kind of things and you learn to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you will live life a little bit easier.
Oh, yes.
One of my I can't remember his name, but I can remember the face. One of my history teacher from Haiti. He explained the history of Haiti so good to me that when I came to this country, I really think that I was on top of everybody else.
Yeah.
It's because I knew my root. So when other people are talking about racism or anything, I don't feel it because I was like right there. I had to actually, because of, I knew the history of black and white and things like that.
Yeah.
So I had to really step back and see, okay, well, yes, maybe it's happening really.
Yeah.
This is what you're talking about. You know your root.
Mhm.
So when you walk in the wood, it's like you're walking and you don't think nothing is happening because you already know you're right there.
Yeah.
Could be a bad thing as well.
But you know something? If that part of you is not strong enough, anybody can influence you otherwise.
Right.
Because I was taking a training for, early whatever. And then part of the training was diversity. And one thing that I feel like at some point the professor was trying to convince me that I have been a victim of racism.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling her, no, I didn't say that I don't see it because I stopped saying that. I was telling her that as a Haitian person,
Because the history.
if somebody look at my color of my skin and say you're not going to do something, I just consider you as a bad human being. I don't see it like, I don't even think that it's because of my color,
Because
everything
you're
that
not
happened
conditioned.
to me.
You're not conditioned.
Because I'm not
That way, yeah.
conditioned that you treated me like that because of my color. I think you're just a bad human being,
And
or
I
you
think
don't like
the
each
reason
other.
for that is that we grew up with black only.
Exactly.
There was not-
We are
not
empowered.
Back in
Yeah.
Haiti, it was
We
we
learn about white people in the book,
In the
and in
book.
our history, we were here and they were like
that's-
here.
Exactly.
That's true. That's
So
true.
when you go to a
Exactly.
society where it's mixed with culture, you're
Yeah.
not gonna victimize yourself
yeah,
at the beginning because you
Yeah.
know your history.
yeah.
I think I've always talked about the difference between pain and suffering.
Mm.
Suffering is psychologically, pain is physical or physiological. Those folks, they are suffering. Whoever told them that they were poor, meaning that you keep it suffering can go with you even when the pain is gone.
It's gone.
You keep the
You're still
suffering.
suffering.
That
So-
mindset never leaves them.
Right,
Yeah,
it's the suffering.
yeah.
We need to separate that. You could have $1 million in the bank, but if I make you believe that you're broke, you
Yes.
poor,
Broke,
and
you're
whatever,
still not gonna-
you
yeah.
inferior, you're gonna go with that suffering
Suffering.
of poor guy. But I can have no money in the bank, which is I think what we have from Haiti.
Yeah.
But you can
feel
get
free.
to $1 million
You're
any
fit,
minute.
Any minute, yeah.
Then your mind goes like,
You're walking
man.
like the billionaire.
Right,
So,
but you
yeah,
don't even have
yeah.
a penny in the bank.
Yeah.
But you're not suffering the notion of not having money.
Money,
Yes.
So
yes.
that's where I distinguish between pain and suffering, and it's
So now, how can somebody transform that mindset? Because we
Right.
have a lot of people who want
gosh,
to
God
love
bless you,
themselves,
girl.
But they don't know how.
they don't know how.
Or they-
I would
or
say
they
just
therapy.
get into that limitation.
This is one trend that I think it's really good now is therapy.
Hmm.
You know, they do social media market therapy like crazy, the same way they did for feminism. But I think, through therapy you really can actually learn yourself
well,
Because it's like a mirror. If you
and
find a
love
good
yourself
therapist,
better.
a good therapist,
you
a good
need
therapist,
you need to find a good therapist, but you need to have a good level of emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
You need
There
not
you
to
go.
have the microwave mentality that we have in our current society, because that requires deep work.
Exactly.
And that deep work will not be done by that therapist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is
Okay,
true.
Thank you
so this is the
so
problem. We
much.
have a microwave mentality. When I get mad, give me a worksheet so I can go to that
I can go
worksheet
to
to
that
make
work.
me feel better. It doesn't work that
And
way.
another thing, we need to stop lying to ourselves.
Yes.
Because what I notice is that
Therapy is
everybody's
expensive, so when we go there we got a
everybody goes to
microwave.
therapy, but what they don't realize, if the moment you start lying to yourself, you start believing your own lie,
It's
right?
not
That's
gonna
number
work.
one. Then what happened is this person that's in front of you that's supposed to help you, you're lying to them, right? If they're good at psychoanalyzing people, they can kind of tell by your body language, this person is really not telling me the full truth kind of thing. But if you're continuously doing that, there's no work that's gonna be done. It's gonna be 5-10 years of you being
It's
in
just gonna be an
therapy.
expensive
Yeah,
therapy
yeah.
session.
They're
Yeah.
treating the
Or
person
5
you
So they
need.
should take the free therapy we're giving them here, because like you said, it's expensive.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
expensive.
We're
yeah,
giving
they
them
should.
therapy
They
now.
should.
We are giving them therapy now, but it's just 5 years of you literally just going to somebody
Yeah.
and warming up their couch.
Yeah.
Paying
Oh, pay
them.
them beaucoup
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you have to
This
be
is-
ready too.
Yeah.
You have to be ready.
This episode is brought to you by Safe Souls Inc. Safe Souls Inc. is an organization dedicated to helping Afro-Caribbean immigrants find stability, success, and community. Moving to a new country is tough, and many in our community struggle with trauma, cultural barriers, and finding the right resources. Safe Souls is changing that by their mental health directory, connecting immigrants with culturally competent therapists, and even covering the first 6 sessions. They also run a 3-day mental health program in Haitian Creole, teaching mental health awareness, job readiness, and how to navigate life in the US, also how to locate their local resources. From breaking the stigma around therapy to helping newcomers build a future, Safe Souls is doing great life-changing work. Want to learn more? Visit safesoulsinc.org or reach out to info@safesoulsinc.org to get involved.
You know something, I do believe the therapist plays a role, because
In what way?
I've gone through a couple of therapists, and there is one particular one. I remember I walked into her office, and then she started telling me all of the way that she was a strong woman, and I as a way to, I think it was her way to show her qualification, but I feel like I am not.
This is
here
supposed to be your
hear
time.
about your qualification. I'm just here for my time. And then the funny thing happened. My best therapist, I mean, I'm not saying he was better than the one that I have now, because, well, he passed away. He was a veteran, a white guy, he was Jewish, white guy veteran, fall asleep midway to the session because he had a sleep disorder.
Poor
But
thing.
when he talks, like he was like a storyteller.
You wait for him? You wait for him to wake up on that session? Or
No,
did you?
it was just like it was like a few seconds of
Oh,
him
okay. I
just
thought you
going
just
like
wait.
this.
Oh my
And then-
gosh.
and then
He
he kinda
probably
like-
was
like-
so used to the same story.
I just said that I was boring.
You kill one therapist. Hold on. No, hold on. Let's make them get clear this good.
Yo.
You kill one therapist. You make the other one
And the
fall
other one
asleep.
fall asleep.
My God, what happened to the third one? No, seriously, finish the story.
She story.
I want to know. I really want
This
to
is
know.
taking a different turn, y'all.
What happened to the third one?
She's
She
alive.
got fired.
What happened to the third one?
The third one got
Oh,
fired.
I'd rather be the third one. My God, you crazy? The first one got killed. The second
I
one
wouldn't want to
is
be
really,
the third.
I want to be the one who got
She's
fired.
alive, and I love her. You know, but he was so effective, you know, and that's why I don't like when people are pushing like you need a black therapist. You need someone who understands you need someone who gets you as a person.
I think
You know,
the
I
black
don't think we
therapist is
need
mostly when they're talking about something that you have to deal with within your culture.
Culture,
you
yeah.
need representation,
Yeah.
like somebody.
I
Because
think, you need,
understand
I think
your
what we need to
Haitian.
say more is that we need somebody that's culturally competent, right?
Yeah,
Someone who understands
the culture
the
that
culture
you're
that
talking
you're
about.
talking about
Yeah.
in a
And
way.
yeah. I mean that's
But-
important, but the right therapist
Also.
is equally
I
important.
think I agree with you 100%. But we have to remember America is a racist society. They divide everything by
That's
racial
true.
Yeah,
lines.
that's probably why they're saying go to a black
Right.
therapist
Yeah,
Everything
and
is
things
divided
like
by
that.
racial lines
Mhm.
or,
Right.
or a D or an R behind your name, whatever the heck that might be. There are financial reasons for it, you know, but I think it makes a lot of sense to get the right individual.
Mm.
But something that is important as well, question that you need to eventually be able to determine, that therapist, does he have enough emotional intelligence to
Intelligence.
dig deep
with me to help me find myself? Because we have therapists as well who have yet to find themselves. They have
Exactly.
a
Yeah,
few
but they
letters.
still have to work and make money. So
They have to work
yeah.
and make money,
Yeah.
and they have a few letters behind their name and say that they're qualified.
Right,
There are some
right.
stuff that you are born with. I'm from the
Mhm.
school of thought that school didn't do anything for me.
Mhm.
They just go to validate the knowledge that I was
that I
born
already
with.
have.
Do
Yes.
you really believe that
Yes.
completely?
Tabula rasa.
Okay.
There's the two school of thought that you come into this world with a blank slate, John Locke, if you
Mhm.
remember, and there's a school of thought that you have all the information in your mind. You just
have to-
the Socratic
right
method.
environment.
You just need the right teachers to activate the knowledge that you already have.
Okay.
I believe that I was born with all the knowledge
Mm-hmm.
that I have. I just have to have lived the experience to activate that knowledge from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind. Then I can, when I'm speaking to you, I can retrieve that information to share with you. Then I have to go to Florida State University to validate that this Negro here came to this plantation here. I validate the fact that he knows this
Plantation.
nonsense, so you can accept them. Then I can use that to make money.
So I read
Yeah.
this book called Mindset where they were talking about the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset, right? Where some people believe that they were born with a certain, gift and intelligence
Capacity.
and capacity, and that's it. And they don't really they don't feel like they have the ability to grow out of that. Like, let's say you have, like you said, you have the gift, right, already. Let's say I was born with the gift of music, right, where I know how to play the piano and I feel like I'm really good at this. This is a gift that I have. And somebody else that's like, well, I could never do this, right? But whereas if they had the growth mindset, they could look at it, well, this is a challenge and maybe I'm able to learn. Maybe it might take me longer, right? It might be harder. It might take me a lot more brain cells to acquire that same level of, the same capacity of someone that could be like a Mozart or a Beethoven.
right,
But I'm
right.
still
Because
able
you have to learn to read music.
Right.
Yes.
I can
Yeah.
still
But the
learn to read
experience,
music
yes.
and get that. Do you think that some people are just born with that, or
You're born with the knowledge.
good.
You need the experience to activate the knowledge.
okay.
So you can have the knowledge here, but it's never activated. It's still in the
Activated.
subconscious mind.
Mhm.
That's the reason why you put your kids to piano lessons. But they become so good at it because they're born with
They
that.
were
So
they already had-
you technically are talking about IQ.
No,
Or
if you,
EQ too.
I want you
Because
to.
I think EQ you're gonna have it through the experience.
IQ. By the way,
Uh-huh.
let's dismiss this IQ notion. By the way,
Oh, you don't like it?
it's not that I don't like it. It's the if you remember,
Uh-huh.
it is a test that is there to measure how much you master European stuff,
Knowledge.
knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
If you grow up in Haiti with all the knowledge of math, and then
You're
you take
gonna
an
fail
IQ
the
test,
rest.
you're
You're
gonna be
gonna
the
fail.
dummy in here.
Yeah,
Because
that's
they're gonna,
true.
when they start talking about a lot of things that you were supposed to know growing up here.
Right.
That's the reason why black psychologists come up with what you call the BITCH test. Yes, just that test, the BITCH test.
What?
Is
BITCH.
is the black intelligence test of cultural homogeneity.
Why they have to call it
So
a
now
bitch?
all white
So-
people.
So yeah, and then that's
Now
exactly
all
what
white
they did.
people going to fail this test.
That's exactly what they did. By the way,
They
that-
should remove the word black on it, and
Well,
then just do the test.
But the
They-
whole acronym,
but-
the acronym is a
acronym is-
problem.
but
call
you
it a
know-
bitch.
I know they should remove the
but
black
you know,
part of
for
it.
us, we are in your face. You know that. You know, we
Yeah,
very
yeah.
in your
I get it. I
Yes.
get it.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. There was
And
a
if
lot
a
of
white person didn't grow up in the culture, I mean, within a black family, they're not gonna
You
know
don't
much
know it.
about
yeah.
it.
And,
So
and
they
why would you take it in first place? You wouldn't want to take it
well,
for
but
what?
the thing that the argument that they're making, you have been subjecting my black kids to a
To your
test.
test, to your
that
white
is-
test,
that-
to
that
your
con-
white test.
Yes,
White test,
that
basically.
continue show that they are failing. Yet you use that test for admission to different universities and different things.
And they do have
Now,
a point there.
Get it.
let me show you, if I give your kids a test of my culture, that they will fail as well. So mine, it's not that they are dumb or stupid, it's because they're taking a test that they're not prepared
They're
for.
not
Yeah.
prepared
But
for.
So-
did they really, when they did this, did they really consider the black person that actually passed the test
Huh.
Well-
and with high score too?
Well, the thing is, you have to understand that the bigger culture wins at the end of the day.
So it was a
Okay.
waste of time.
No,
It
it's not.
is.
By the way, that
They
was a
just
test.
they just proved something.
They
They
just
proved
make a
wanted to
point.
prove
Yeah.
something.
That was a question, and when I take my board, that was a question on that exam. Dr. Naeem Akbar actually was my professor and mentor at Florida State. He was part of that group, the president of the Association of Black Psychologists, who basically was part of those entire movement. So there's a close relationship there. The point that I'm making is that you can have those therapists going back, or musicians, or producers. This guy was born with his knowledge of music.
Right.
What happened? He still need to be exposed to the right teachers that will ask the right question. Even the Buddha said that when the student is ready,
Is ready, the teacher will appear.
the teachers are all
Wow.
around
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I
I
agree
wonder
with
if they do they have the same things for EQ too?
For IQ testing.
for
Emotional intelligence.
Oh, you said I thought you said IQ. I'm sorry.
Would they do the same thing? How would they measure
Or
that?
the
Because when we talk about emotional intelligence, we don't put race to it.
Yeah, there's no culture.
well, they should.
That's exactly what I'm
should.
saying.
They should, but you have to understand. Research costs money, and then the Negroes, the mentally deficient of the tribe, they do not dedicate their money to conduct researches
a
that
point.
will lead to the betterment of the people.
People.
Because when you have a 15-year-old Haitian kid that can take care of an entire family, then you have a 25-year-old,
Yeah.
the same American that cannot even know how to put a boil of water on a pot. You're gonna have to tell me that what's the difference there.
That is true.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to go back to self-love, I think one thing that I want to clarify too, not that just you need the right therapist, but the person also needs to understand the nuances of your language,
Mhm.
you know, and even if they're not from the culture, they need to understand it.
Yes.
You know, how you speak and why that matters and all of these things. So that's all part of practical things that we can do. If you love yourself, you're going to put the time, like you say, you're going to put the time to do those things that benefits you in the long run.
I think that's why they have specialty in therapy.
They have what?
So,
I think people don't look at that. They have
what?
what?
They have
specialty.
specialty
Specialty.
there.
Yeah.
So when you pick a therapist, when you're gonna choose a therapist, you're gonna try to
You
go
have
to
to look
somebody,
at the
somebody that can
specialty
help.
in whatever you.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree.
This
I
was
agree.
good.
They study that if they wanna serve the African culture, probably as a prerequisite, they'll have to take classes regarding the Black culture
Yeah.
for them to have the masters. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that's supposed to be something that they put in the curriculum.
I think they would be careful in putting that, but I'm pretty sure that they will have to study it at some point.
How you
The way
gonna-
that the
you can't
diversity
help
is
people
going.
trauma without knowing the rules.
The
root of-
exactly. I
exactly.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
The Black trauma is way different.
Way
than the white.
different. Hey,
The
tell me
Caribbean
about it.
trauma is another different trauma.
Caribbean. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Caribbean
not
trauma.
exactly the black, the concern.
That is true.
It's
Within the
black
black,
trauma.
there's
Yeah.
also the sub. Wow, that was. yeah.
No, go ahead.
I mean,
Okay, go
anybody
ahead.
has last words on self love and some advice they can give out to our audience on how to take conscious
Love
steps
yourself.
to love yourself.
Do whatever
Besides
they
all the
like.
things that we
Do whatever
think-
they like.
Yeah, I think his definition works. Do whatever works for you to love yourself. It's not supposed to be different than I want you to love me the way I want to be loved. So it's like I want to love myself the way I feel good. Right? I'm gonna love myself the way it feels good to me.
What if your feelings are betraying you?
exactly.
And you love yourself another way.
The thing is, the thing
This
is,
is so much.
you have to have you have to have the emotional IQ to make that call, like you said.
Yeah.
If you don't, you need to be able to know that, hey, you know what? I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna seek the assistance
Somebody.
of somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Right,
Exactly.
right.
50% of knowledge is to know where to go get it.
Yeah.
So I may not have it. It's like you say, hey, you have her number?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it, but I know she has it and I know her. I said, yeah, I can get it.
Yeah.
So collecting the two information, we have to combine it. Yes,
Yeah.
when you realize that, you know what, I cannot make that decision because my emotions are all over the place,
Right.
Exactly.
then you need to call
Then you
somebody.
go call
I love
somebody.
that.
Yeah.
I want to
You
end
make
it on that
call.
note.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I love
yes.
that. I love that. Thank you so much, guys. This was good. This was good. Even I'm thinking, I'm just like reflecting on everything. I'm processing.
You're thinking, am I loving myself the proper way?
Oh, I love myself. I mean, I try to make conscious decisions of loving myself. Also means to me personally is if I don't want this to be done, if this person, I wouldn't want this person to. I'm still processing. I'm sorry. If I wouldn't want to do something that I don't want to be done to me, right, to someone else. So that's how I'm looking at loving myself. And like for me, it's like if I wouldn't want someone to do ill to me, I wouldn't do it to them, right? In that way. So that kind of allows me to view myself differently. If I'm viewing someone in a very negative lighting, then I might
You're checking
I'm
yourself.
checking myself. Maybe you have a little bit of insecurities with yourself
Yeah.
that you don't want to
What
sit
is that
with.
person
person
put
put
it-
it?
Yeah, and that's why you're looking at this person like that. Exactly.
Emotional.
And his is to community. What about your loving yourself?
I loving myself. I define it. No,
I'm not neglecting me now. Don't get this.
Why?
I'm
We're
not
not
neglecting me.
neglecting you.
Oh.
You
I'm the
just
only
said that I kill my
I'm the only one
therapist.
that have a simple model.
Yours is just so simplified.
Just love myself.
yeah, just love myself. Don't go deep.
But
Don't
we
go
have to
below the surface.
understand success of any kind requires some type of selfishness.
Yes. Yes.
Emotional success requires some type of selfishness. The time I'm doing something that I know it doesn't benefit you, it doesn't benefit you, but it benefit this one here, and I'm doing it as long as it's not taking you out of business.
It's centered.
Wow.
Yeah, it has selfishness. On it.
Dang, now
And we
I'm
don't like to say
questioning
that.
about
And we don't like to say that, but it's the truth.
it is the truth.
It's the truth.
So in a way, is that loving myself the wrong way?
How's that the wrong way?
Well, you push it.
Who's
you-
defining
That's
right or
your
wrong?
way.
That's
you
true.
said you
That's
feel
true. It
good
is.
that way,
It is.
so.
It is. No, because sometimes what happened is sometimes because you care so much about others and you try to play in a selfless way, then it kind of becomes detrimental to you as well. But
Then
it's
you
like,
should-
but to me, it feels good that I was able to.
No, you should kill yourself and become a saint. Because if you gotta die first before isn't that what it is? You gotta die first before you become a saint. So if you don't want this self, then get rid of it so you can become the saint that you want to be.
become the sent for other people.
I mean, what else do you want me to tell you?
Well, let's leave them with the first thing that you said before you said.
But you see the free choice in my philosophy.
Right.
Yeah. We get it. Yeah. All right.
Well, with that being said, love yourself, okay? Whichever way you feel like this is going to work for you, just find a way to love yourself and try to acquire emotional intelligence to know when to get help and to get take the necessary steps to your betterment. So thank you guys for watching this episode. It was great having you all. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with somebody. And again, mind your wellness.
Because it's your
Because it's your
biz.
It's
You're
your
not
business.
ready. You guys are not. You guys are
We
not
got-
pathfinders. You guys are not
You keep
pathfinders.
on- you
Like,
gotta-
it's like
You gotta give us let us know when you're
like,
doing
they're
it.
not- You're not ready.
Loving myself. So
You were so too busy loving yourself.
Yeah, too busy.
Well,
I was
again,
too busy.
mind your wellness.
Because it's your business.
Thank you guys.
Bye.